back. Sorry, this week is a little bit different. I've been having issues with LinkedIn, so hopefully you guys get a notification to say that I'm here. Either that, or I'm going to be talking to myself for an hour. But the LinkedIn, how you set it up on LinkedIn as an event, it's becoming a little bit difficult. It wasn't allowing me to mass invite people, so I just scrapped it and I've just gone live. Let's see what happens. But how is everyone today? Hopefully we get some of you coming back and asking some questions. I've had some awesome meetings this week that I wanted to talk to you about. I've got a few guests that are going to come on. Nikita Morel, I don't know if any of you know her, but she designs websites and she's got an event called Archicon in October. So she's going to come and join me in the end of July, at the beginning of August. I just need to confirm it with her, which will be awesome. So yeah, we had a meeting this week and we had loads to talk about. So what I wanted to do is give you guys a completely different perspective on how to present yourself, how to get your information out there. I think I've just got a notification to say that I'm live. Good start. And what we're going to do is just give you a different perspective, because she's got loads of good ideas about how you can put together your portfolio of work, how you can showcase your expertise, because what we've both found is the architects of all levels, from graduates to board directors, don't know how to convey and sell their work. And this is the main issue when it comes to, certainly from my perspective, when it comes to a job search. I'm looking at hundreds and hundreds, even thousands of portfolios a week, where there's just a load of 3D renders. There's no kind of context about what that candidate has been working on, what their involvement was, what the brief was, what the project was. It goes on and on and on and on. So it leaves the reader in asking more questions and not really getting any answers. So what happens in the job search process? So if we have this situation where we get hiring managers having more questions than answers, should we say, from your portfolio, then they just move on to the next person. So that's why I'm doing these LinkedIn Lives again and trying to get this out there, get you kind of thinking a different way about your job search. So what we're going to do over the coming weeks is first off, I'm going to go through, we're going to make this more general. So it's not going to be a portfolio masterclass anymore. It's going to be job search masterclass, and make it really super general. So we can cover a few different topics. So CV, portfolio, personal brand, LinkedIn, and your actual job search itself, because there's loads of techniques that us recruiters use, which you can take on board and start getting control of your actual job search. So we've got quite a number of people that have subscribed to our A Platinum subscription. They have unlimited access to me. And what they're finding is they're getting all of this information and access that they didn't have previously. So it's basically, our masterclasses are all designed to give you the whole breadth of a job search and cover like your personal brand, which is so incredibly important in your job search. We get people every single week asking us, in fairness, and maybe I'll put up some of these previous questions that we've had, because I get this on a weekly basis. So it's worth bringing up. I would love to work for Foster & Partners as a goal. I don't know if I've been too ambitious. You tell me. So I love the fact that we've got subscribers on board who want to work for well-known international brands. And this particular candidate, he's awesome. He's got all the qualities that an employer would love to hire. So he's really keen on learning more. And so when we look at a company like Foster and Partners, you see the magnitude of the projects that they work on. Now, that is a bit of an indicator on who they will hire, because the likelihood that they're going to take someone who works on small scale residential projects is minimal unless there's other qualities that that candidate possess. But what we have done with our platinum subscriber is gone through, and I've got him to do an exercise of do a search on the people who work at Foster and Partners, find out what computer software they use, and believe you me, it's a lot. So they, I've had candidates that have come to us, and they can use about 20-25 different programs. So that's a good starting point. What are the main programs that you need to know? Rivet is one of them, and this is not just for Foster and Partners, this is across the board. If you don't know Rivet, you are going to be left behind, because every single job description that we have, and every client that we have, requests Rivet as a must. So that's an area that you can start. You can start like learning Rivet, and then going through all the other programs. So they will use Lumion, Grasshopper, I'm trying to think of them now, Rhino, AutoCAD, and then they go into more kind of the graphical stuff. But yeah, when I was looking through Midjourney, I know everyone can get access to that. But yeah, if you kind of put a list together of all the software that they use, that's a good starting point, because when you're learning all these pieces of software, you get a different window and a different insight into different perspectives of how you can put together your drawings, how you can put together your renders, how you can put together the rest of your work, and how it all works together. The reason why Revit is so popular now is that there's Revit Architecture, Revit Structure, Revit Civil, it goes on and on. So you don't have to convert the drawings, or so I'm told. I'm not a Revit expert, but yeah, it makes it a lot easier for large teams to work on drawings and pass them between teams rather than having to convert them into another program. And I think that's probably where a lot of errors can occur. So yeah, thank you for our platinum subscriber for asking that. We've got a coaching session this week, which I'm really looking forward to. And please scan here if you would like to get insights into your job search right from the outset through to the end of it, shall we say, but right the way through. We've got, if you register with a recruitment, you will get a series of 5 emails, and each of those emails contain 3 tips on that you can implement today on how to update your CV, portfolio, LinkedIn, job search, and personal brand as a starting point. And then hopefully that gives you a bit more kind of insight as to what these massive companies are looking for. Also, we've got our masterclasses. So, you can gain access to all the information known to man in one go, and you can work your way through it and get access to me at the same time. Lucky you. So, right, let's get through some of these questions that have been sent in. So I was, and also if any of you are watching now, please post your questions, because week in, week out, there's about 2,000 to 2,500 of you that tune into this, and you're so quiet. You need to start getting more vocal. So yeah, please post your questions. Let me just double check here. All right. So this LinkedIn user said, I was told that my portfolio needs to be maximum 5 megabytes, but you've told me I need high resolution images that will take me over that. What do I do? Well, look, our clients are tier 1 clients, and they will, it's rare for them to go back to everyone with feedback, right? And I think this is why everyone has all these questions left unanswered. But when I speak to these companies, they want to see high resolution images so that they can see your work. Most of you have a tendency to put a big hero image, and then your actual work is so teeny tiny that once you actually zoom in, it's super pixelated. So what that we end up on our side not knowing at all what you've been doing. So we need those high resolution imagery, and you're not going to be able to fit that into 5 megabytes. So if you do have a what so let me start again. If you put together your whole portfolio, so you can see what you've been working on, see the sectors that you've been working on, the scale, it will give you a good indication, first of all, of where your experience lies and which companies would be similar to you or to your experience, and then you can look at it from a different perspective of who would be more likely to hire you. Also, if you have like a paid license on LinkedIn, go onto your current company and it will have similar companies on the right hand side. I think that's maybe that's for all. I don't know if that's for free users as well, but have a look at your current company, see on the right hand side of those companies that are in competition with your current employer. And that will be a good indicator. That would be a good place to start with your job search. But anyway, so with the back to the portfolio, put together your whole portfolio so that you can look at it from a high level as to what you've been working on and what scale, etc., what locations, because some companies want international experience. And then what I suggest you do is put together it has to be in chronological order, but the most recent is usually the most relevant. I know that we've had positions in the past where clients have said, right, we want, I don't know, senior architect with healthcare experience. And we would get a whole load of people applying who have done like a healthcare project, a hospital project or whatever, like 15 years ago. Building regs change over time. Everything changes over time. And yes, the core building is the same. But what hiring managers want to know is that you can get to work on those projects super quickly, reduce the onboarding time, which can take up to 6 months, which is incredibly costly for any business. What they need is people to come on board and get down to the ground running as quickly as possible. So if you're having to learn software, learn building regs, or learn about, I don't know, clean rooms, for example, it's going to extend that onboarding time, which they just don't have time for. So yeah, be really kind of I'm trying to think of a word, but it's not coming to me. Be really discerning about or critical over your own work and what you've produced, so that you can figure out where you would fit for your next employment. So yeah, I would start with a big portfolio, and then so this particular user says, right, it's not this particular user that said this, but I have seen like there are the occasional business and tier one companies that will only allow a certain size of portfolio to upload. Now, us for AE recruitment as a business, what we do is we allow you to put a URL link, so there's no limit on the size of file. Because data is costly at the end of the day. So I understand why some of these businesses do that. But also, if you've got an architectural practice, let's call it Foster and Partners, for example. So if we've got Foster and Partners who are looking for a senior architect and they want someone who's worked on international projects, and they have a limit of 5 to 10 megabytes for your portfolio, so your file upload, it's because they want to see the projects that are relevant to the job description. So that's what they're looking for. And this is why I said just a minute ago that you're better off putting together, all your work that you've done, and then being really critical and thinking, where would my experience best fit? And where would I slot in well with another business? So that's the reason that I said do a large one. But by and large, I think most companies these days will allow you to put a URL in. So again, if you think, I don't have a website, you don't need a website for this. All you need is to, look this up on Google. Because even Word you can sell as send as a URL link now. You've got Google Docs, you've got your PDFs, and Adobe. They will allow you to send or create a URL link that you can send on to us. So there's always a way around these things. Never think that you're stuck. So, okay, and this is one of my questions that I've been posing to people, because I've been going through application after application after application with for architects with no sorry, that's distracting. That was a LinkedIn thing. So yeah, I've been going through CV after CV with no projects in it at all. So I think you guys are using generic templates out there. If you want to find our templates, which are specifically designed for architects and designers, they will have a section for the projects. And then someone last week said to me, right, Hayley, okay, that's great. But if I start adding my projects and I'm going over 2 to 3 pages, so what? No hiring manager out there is going to reject your application because your CV is running into 5, 6, 7 pages. That's ridiculous. All the hiring manager is looking for is the relevant experience to the job that they're looking to hire someone for. So if your CV runs into 5, 6, 7, 8 pages, it really doesn't matter. As we say in the recruitment world, God, I'm really struggling this morning. As we say in the recruitment world, if it's not in your CV, it never happened. So include your projects, please, 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 and stop listening to people who say maximum 2, 3 pages, because that's what's holding you back here. It's not the fact that you're running into 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. The 2, 3 pages is holding you back from finding your next role. So that was my piece on the CVs. Oh, here we go. This was actually from one of my subscribers. I saw the template you shared. Wouldn't this make the CV very long, even if I mentioned 2 to 3 projects for each project I worked at? See, yeah, I thought CVs were supposed to be 2, maybe 3 pages. So again, it's, yeah, no, the 2, 3 pages are holding you back. This is a misconception, massive misconception out there, that you should keep your CV to 2, 3 pages, especially in architecture and design. I can't speak for every single industry out there, but certainly in architecture and design, we need to have you commenting more, having you talk about yourself more. And, the more that you're holding back, the more you're holding yourself back from the next job. So please get more vocal and start talking about the projects that you're working on. And this is why I've been doing these Portfolio Masterclasses, because when it comes to your portfolios, I have no idea what the majority of you are doing on these projects, because you're sending across your portfolio and it's just 3D renders. So what I would like you to do this weekend is bring up your portfolio, take out all the 3D renders and tell me what you've got left. What is the story behind those images? And if you struggle, to tell a story in that, then you really need to start working on your portfolio. What a really, really successful portfolio does all the sales work for you ahead of the interview. So I've had candidates before who have come to me, and we had 2 candidates from the same company, and I presented them to one of my clients, and it was really difficult to pull them apart to figure out which one to choose just from the portfolio. And he was kind of thinking, I'm not sure which one to interview, whether we just go ahead and interview both. We probably will. But as you've got your Portfolio Masterclass on your website, hey, can you put both of these candidates through the Portfolio Masterclass? Because I want to see what they come back with. And wow, one of the candidates produced an incredible portfolio. And the MD came back to me and just said, Hayley, the interview is just a formality at this point. That portfolio is outstanding. So, individuality is and visibility. This is how you get visibility, is being individual. You know, embrace who you are as a designer. Use your design skills to produce a portfolio that is striking and stands out from everyone. Try to ditch all the templates, because once you do generic templates and you use AI, you all sound the same, you all look the same. And like what this MD was saying, if everyone looks the same, how are you supposed to choose which candidate to select for interview? So when you're when you are selecting people for interview, so when you're sourcing and doing all of this kind of work, when you're clicking through candidate after candidate and you're going through hundreds of people, you see the same templates, you see the same wording, and it just becomes really boring. It's only those people who use their human voice, sound completely original from anyone else, but it's only because they're just talking like I am now. They're not having, I don't know, they're not using the generic terms that you hear over and over and over again. Proven track record. That's a classic that every single person uses. So talk from a human voice. Talk about the projects that you've been working on. It's really obvious to see which projects you're really proud of, because I think some people, they will go over and above talking about some projects forever and ever, because they had such a great time working on them, and it was a great experience. So yeah, you can tell that the candidates that really enjoy where they're working and the projects that they work on, because of the amount of text and the amount of detail they've gone into. But every project should be like that. You should be talking about, actually, one of my meetings, something came up that I thought was awesome. So when it comes to your CVs and portfolios, start to use sensory language. So the feel, the smell, the sound. And this is what I talk about in quite a lot of my coaching sessions with people. It's, I want to be transported to that briefing room to, to kind of get that feel of what it was like to be in the room with the client and what their vision was and how you went about going through that vision with them and nurturing them through the whole process. There's lots of different stages that you go through, and sometimes that client's vision won't be possible, but how do you steer them around that? So there's loads of angles, but ultimately clients want to, there's that look and feel. And when you go into a massive building, or I don't know, Eiffel Tower, you get a sense of how it makes you feel and how high it is, and these are the things that you need to start talking about. So think about feel, smell, and sound, and colors. You're so aware of colors when it comes to projects, but when it comes to your CV and portfolio, they seem to be completely devoid of them. So really kind of think about all those elements that you use on a day-to-day basis with your projects, so that you can incorporate them into your CV and portfolio and bring them to life, because that's what we're looking for here. So I'm going to keep this session shorter than usual this week, because what I'm going to do is start lining up all the LinkedIn lives for the next month or so that you know what we've got going on when. And also, I think how I've set it up today, no one's kind of tuned in. So that happens. C'est la vie. But I will come back to you next week, and I will line up all of these LinkedIn lives ahead of time. I'm going to be sending invites out to everyone who has subscribed to AE Recruitment. So we've got emails going out to over 100,000 of you. So please subscribe to those LinkedIn lives so that we can get the conversation going, and come with your questions, please. Because all of you kind of, over the weeks, it's a steady 2,000 to 2,500 of you that that join over the ether, over the time span, over the course of the week, but hardly any of you are vocal. So yeah, we need to get these conversations going so that you learn more and that you stand out more, because that's ultimately what these are about. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in, if anyone has tuned in, and I shall get these emails out so that they're more organized in weeks to come. But have a great weekend. Take care, you. Bye.